all-included family vacation ever. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
Well, some brand new polls show that more than 1/5 of registered voters say that they could still be convinced to change their minds before Election Day. These come from ABC News. Here's the first one. 22% of voters define themselves as persuadable. Meanwhile, look at this one. This really caught my eye. 60% say that they are anxious about whether their preferred candidate could actually perform well as president on both sides. How about that? Joined now by Pat Caddell, who was a pollster for President Carter, and Chris Wilson is a Republican pollster. Welcome to both of you. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Pat, that really strikes me. I mean, you know, they say, yes, I'd like Mitt Romney, or yes, I'd like President Obama, but I'm a little nervous about whether they can do the job.
Well, I think this is a bit, you know, sometimes once in a while you get a new question in a poll that's interesting and gives you and helps illuminate something. This is really important. I believe that, you know, this notion that there are only a handful of people, that everybody is locked into their positions, is ludicrous. That's what people who don't know anything about voters think. Voters move all over the place. Some people are undecided today, move tomorrow to support softly or hard, whatever. This is what's important are that, you know, that we've got 1/5 of the voters who are movable. And look, even if half of them are movable, if it's only half really that are truly movable, that's important. But 60%, when you see people saying that they're anxious, it makes things like the news story today we had and what's happening in the Middle East, that's would make, if I were President Obama, make me very nervous. And Governor Romney as well.
You know, Chris, let's put up this one last number while we can, which goes to the issue of how many people out there could possibly change their mind. And the way that ABC poll put this was, are you interested in finding out more about the candidate? 32% of registered voters said that, and that led ABC to the conclusion that that combined with the other number means that people are still persuadable out there. But let's get back to this anxiety issue, Chris. What do you make of it?
Well, it's really nothing new. I mean, we've been seeing this in our polls and focus groups really since Romney was the nominee, and even going back during the election. It's driven by a socioeconomic status issue. You have a majority of blue-collar, middle-class voters that look at an Ivy League educated former community organizer on one side and then a former investment banker on the other, and it really leaves most voters with someone who they don't feel like represents who they are, their beliefs, what they stand for. And it's really driven, and you look at they did a regression analysis on it, it's driven by socioeconomic status. And it's the same sort of socioeconomic status if you look at the middle class voters. It's the highest predictor. Lower education, lower economic status is the highest predictor of persuadability. And it's really the same sort of dynamic that gave us the Tea Party. If you look at politico-socioeconomically, it gave us the Tea Party movement in 2010. And whereas a majority of Tea Party voters may be Republican, there's a good enough number of them that are independents that speaks to what Pat was talking about earlier. They're still undecided. They've already rejected Obama, but they haven't really accepted Mitt Romney yet because they don't know if he represents them.
I think it also just taps into a lot of anxiety in the country. You know, I hear a lot of people say that they don't like the ads, they don't like the discussion really that things are focused on right now, and they're just not sure about it. So it leaves a lot open. I got to go. We got to leave there. Pat, real quick if you can. Super quick.
No, I'm just going to say you're exactly right. People are worried about the future. Where the future is going, and the election doesn't seem to be relevant to them in many ways. That's why they're anxious.
You're exactly right, too. Pat, thank you. Always a pleasure to see you. Chris, many thanks for being here. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you.
I always say, Martha,